The winner is Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins.
Thank you very much for this lovely honor.
She won Oscars. She charmed the world. But behind Julie Andrews' perfect smile was a secret buried deep for 60 years. The truth, a forbidden love affair that began on a movie set in 1965. She was married. He was too. Their chemistry wasn't just for the cameras, it was real, raw, and dangerously electric. As whispers turned to scandal, secret hotel meetings became headlines. Studio bosses issued warnings. Careers, and reputations, were on the line. Julie chose silence. Until now, the beloved star of The Sound of Music finally opens up about the romance that nearly destroyed her. Julie Andrews was born in 1935 in the quiet English town of Walton-on-Thames. But even in her earliest days, her life was anything but simple. Her mother, Barbara, had an affair with a close family friend, and Julie was the result. For years, she believed another man was her father. That truth didn't reach her until age 15. And the world wouldn't know until decades later, when she revealed it in her memoir. Then came war and chaos. As bombs fell on London, Julie's childhood unraveled. Her parents separated and remarried. She bounced between homes, sometimes with her real father, other times with her mother and new stepfather, Ted Andrews. Life under Ted's roof was dark. He drank. Worse, he crossed terrifying lines. Julie had to put a lock on her bedroom door just to feel safe. The family lived in poverty, scraping by in wartime London. She would later call those years the darkest of her life. But in the shadows, something shone, her voice. It was her stepfather, of all people, who noticed it first. Despite everything, he arranged for singing lessons. That's when Julie met Madame Lillian Stiles Allen, a legendary vocal coach who became a guiding light. Julie called her a third mother. Madame recognized greatness. Julie had range, clarity, and something else, magic. Julie didn't think her voice was special. She joked it was so high only dogs could hear it. But others knew better. She trained relentlessly, juggling school and music lessons. Few children worked that hard, but Julie knew what was at stake. Her first real gigs, with her family. At just 10 years old, Julie stood on a beer crate to reach the mic, singing alongside her mother and stepfather. Soon, she was performing for soldiers, riding trains to military camps, and even dozing off in luggage racks. She shared the road with another young performer, Petula Clark. By age 12, everything changed. Her stepfather introduced her to a top theatre producer. One audition later, Julie was booked at the London Hippodrome. She sang a difficult French opera piece, and brought the house down. The audience erupted. That night turned into a year-long gig. She even starred in a skit with a balloon comic named Wally Bogue. Julie would run on stage, claim she could sing, and then blow the crowd away. At 13, she became the youngest solo performer ever at the Royal Variety Show, singing for the King and Queen of England. And she was just getting started. Radio, television, children's plays, Julie's voice became a staple across Britain. She took on roles like Jack in Jack and the Beanstalk and Cinderella. By her teens, she already had fans. Her film debut came in a small Italian cartoon, The Singing Princess, a quiet first step on a huge journey. Then came the moment that changed everything. On September 30th, 1954, a 19-year-old Julie Andrews stepped onto a Broadway stage, and never looked back. She played Polly Brown in The Boyfriend, her first major role in the US-British actress Patty Jack had recommended her, a gift Julie never forgot. Taking the job was terrifying. She had to leave her family behind. She was their breadwinner, and now she was flying across the world with no guarantee she'd succeed. Her father urged her to go. That leap of faith paid off. Audiences were mesmerized. Critics raved. Julie became Broadway's newest darling. Her voice sparkled. Her comedic timing was flawless. The show ran for 485 performances, and Julie earned the prestigious Theatre World Award. But the biggest break was yet to come. In the audience sat two Broadway powerhouses, Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Lowe. They were casting My Fair Lady. After seeing Julie, they knew they'd found their Eliza Doolittle. By March 1956, she was 20 years old, and a Broadway star. The role was iconic. From Cockney flower girl to refined lady, Eliza let Julie flex every acting and vocal muscle she had. Audiences couldn't get enough. The show was a smash. Its cast recording topped the charts. New York adored her. London would too. In 1958, Julie took My Fair Lady back to the West End, and conquered it. Her voice, with its 4-octave range, crossed oceans. And when she returned to Broadway in 1960, it was as Queen Guinevere in Camelot. her co-star, Richard Burton, and that's when things got complicated. Burton was magnetic, and Julie felt the pull. He flirted. She resisted. When he finally made a move, Julie didn't hold back. She shut him down with a curse word, later laughing that Mary Poppins had finally lost her temper. But on stage, their chemistry was electric. The show floundered at first, until a televised performance on The Ed Sullivan Show revived it. Audiences surged. The show thrived for 3 years. Burton took home a Tony. Julie earned another nomination, and one man was watching closely, Walt Disney. Disney saw Julie in Camelot and instantly knew she was his Mary Poppins. But heartbreak came first. Warner Bros. Was adapting My Fair Lady for film. Naturally, everyone assumed Julie would star. She'd made the role famous. She was Eliza, but they cast Audrey Hepburn instead. It stung. Hepburn couldn't sing, and her vocals had to be dubbed. Julie, hurt and furious, later said she'd have spat in their eye if they'd asked her to dub Hepburn's lines. But in losing that role, she won something far greater. Disney made his move. He offered her Mary Poppins. Julie hesitated. She was pregnant. But Walt didn't blink. "That's okay," he said. "We'll wait." He believed in her, and he'd been dreaming of this project for decades. He even rented a house in Los Angeles for her family. When Mary Poppins premiered in 1964, no one expected the woman from a small English town to become a global sensation. She was 29, a first-time film actress, and from the moment she floated onto the screen with an umbrella in hand, the world was spellbound. Mary Poppins didn't just charm audiences, it became a cultural phenomenon. The film raked in over $44 million in the US and more than $103 million globally. The next year, the two major musicals, Mary Poppins and My Fair Lady, faced off at the Oscars. And the underdog won. Julie Andrews took home Best Actress. Audrey Hepburn, not even nominated. During her speech, Julie slyly thanked Jack Warner, the very executive who had passed her over for My Fair Lady. It was a classy mic drop. Even the box office told a story. Mary Poppins out-earned My Fair Lady despite its much smaller budget. Overnight, Hollywood realized Julie Andrews wasn't just a star, she was a force. Then came 1965. The Sound of Music hit theaters and changed everything. It didn't just do well, it shattered records, making $286 million worldwide. Julie's role as Maria von Trapp, the spirited nun turned governess, captured hearts everywhere. That iconic opening scene, where she twirls on an Austrian mountaintop, became cinematic legend. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. A helicopter filmed the shot, and its downdraft knocked her over after every take. She joked later that she spent more time flattened in the grass than singing. Still, the film earned 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. Julie was officially Hollywood royalty. But that kind of perfection came with a downside. She had now played 2 nanny roles back to back, and people began to typecast her. Could she be more than just the singing sweetheart? Julie wanted to break free, and she took a bold swing. Later that same year, she chose the Americanization of Emily, a gritty World War II drama. No songs, no whimsical characters, just raw emotion. She starred opposite James Garner as a British widow, and for the first time, she proved her dramatic chops. The critics took notice. Next, she tackled suspense, signing on with Alfred Hitchcock for Torn Curtain, a Cold War spy thriller released in 1966. Paired with Paul Newman, the film had star power, but Hitchcock wasn't sold. He felt the leads were too polished for the rough-edged realism he envisioned. Critics were split, but audiences still came. The movie made over $13 million on a $3 million budget, not a runaway hit, but far from a flop. Her momentum kept going. That same year, she starred in Hawaii, a sweeping epic based on James Michener's best-selling novel. It was one of the biggest productions of the decade, $15 million and a storm of delays. Rain, tidal waves, chaos. But the film became the year's highest grosser. Julie played a headstrong woman following her missionary husband to the islands. She delivered a strong performance, but the spotlight unexpectedly shifted. A complete unknown, Jocelyn Lagarde, stole every scene as a Hawaiian queen, and even won a Golden Globe. By the end of the 60s, the sparkle was starting to dim. In 1968, Julie starred in Star, a biopic about stage legend Gertrude Lawrence. The director was Robert Wise, the same man behind The Sound of Music. The budget was huge, expectations were sky high, but the film crashed. Critics pounced. Variety called her performance overdone poignantness. It was one of the decade's most expensive failures. Then came Darling Lily in 1970, directed by her husband, Blake Edwards. This was her big reinvention. The squeaky clean image was gone. Julie swore on screen. She performed a striptease. But instead of shocking audiences into admiration, it left them confused. The film cost around $25 million and tanked. Another bomb. Suddenly, Hollywood no longer saw her as a leading lady. Yet somehow, she still earned Golden Globe nominations for both Star and Darling Lily. The respect remained, but the momentum didn't. She needed a lifeline, so she turned to television. In 1972, she launched the Julie Andrews Hour, a musical variety show brimming with comedy, songs, and big-name guests. ABC had such faith in her, they signed a 5-year deal. Critics loved it. They praised her wit, her charm, her versatility. But the ratings didn't follow. Against stiff competition, the show struggled. After one season, ABC pulled the plug. Then came a twist nobody saw coming. A month after cancellation, the Julie Andrews Hour cleaned up at the Emmys, 7 wins from 10 nominations. It was a strange, bittersweet victory. A brilliant show the audience never showed up for. ABC offered her a few more specials, but the writing was on the wall. TV wasn't her new stage either. So, she did something nobody expected. She hit the nightclub circuit. The woman best known for twirling through the Alps with children now stood in smoky lounges, singing jazz and cracking sharp one-liners. It was a daring transformation. She poked fun at herself, roasted Hollywood, and shattered the goody two-shoes image. Critics were charmed. Audiences were captivated. This wasn't the Julie Andrews they thought they knew. She was bold, funny, fearless. Then in 1979, she made her big screen comeback, with a bang. She starred in 10, a sleek, modern romantic comedy directed by her husband, Blake Edwards. The film was cheeky, sexy, and made over $74 million. She followed it with SOB in 1981, a biting satire where Julie shocked everyone by appearing topless. It wasn't just for headlines. It was symbolic, a public burning of the old image. But her true transformation came with Victoria in 1982. She played a woman pretending to be a man pretending to be a woman. The performance was clever, daring, and deeply human. The story explored gender, identity, and survival in a brutal world, and Julie nailed every beat. The film earned $28 million, a Golden Globe, and another Oscar nomination. Suddenly, Julie Andrews wasn't just Maria or Mary Poppins. She was a chameleon, a powerhouse, a survivor, but while her career evolved, her personal life was tangled in its own plot twists. Julie married set designer Tony Walton in 1959, a childhood friend turned soulmate. He saw her on stage as a child, wrote her letters, and eventually became her husband. Their daughter, Emma, was born in 1962. But life quickly became a high-wire act. Broadway, motherhood, and marriage pulled her in opposite directions. She admitted she often felt torn, between child and career, husband and daughter. She buried the struggle, smiled through the pain, but the strain grew too heavy. They divorced in 1969. Devastated, Julie turned to therapy. Director Mike Nichols urged her to go. She listened, and it changed her life. Therapy helped her sort through what she called mental clutter. It gave her clarity, strength, and later, she'd speak publicly about mental health, hoping to help others find the same relief. And then, in a classic Hollywood twist, she ran into Blake Edwards, outside a therapist's office. Two hearts, both bruised, collided at just the right moment. Despite a 13-year age gap, something clicked. They understood each other's wounds. They married later that year. Together, they built a blended family, raising his children and adopting 2 daughters from Vietnam, Amy and Joanna. They didn't just share a home. They shared a vision. 7 films together, from Darling Lily to Victoria. Some flopped, some soared, but they never let success or failure touch their love. Julie once said Blake's sharp wit balanced her seriousness. Their marriage lasted 41 years, until his death in 2010. And she still calls it a true love story. But long before Blake, there was a quieter, more complicated chapter. In 1960, she starred in Camelot with Richard Burton. On stage, their chemistry was electric. Off stage, it got complicated. Her marriage to Tony Walton was already fraying. Burton, with his intensity and charm, stirred something in her. She later admitted she felt deeply alone. Working beside him every night lit a spark. But she never acted on it. She chose boundaries over temptation. That choice may have saved her from more heartache. Then came the sound of music. Julie played Maria, Christopher Plummer played the captain. The connection, Instant. Behind the scenes, there was a quiet crush. Both were struggling in their personal lives. Both felt the pull. Plummer joked they should have had a smashing affair. But life and timing got in the way. Still, something beautiful came from it. A deep, lasting friendship. Julie said they were never lovers, and that may be why the bond endured. They respected each other, lifted each other. She credited Plummer with grounding the sound of music, keeping it from slipping into sugar. And when he died in 2021, she mourned not just a co-star, but a lifelong friend. As the years passed, so did the roles, and the risks. In That's Life, 1986, she played a singer facing a possible cancer diagnosis. Art mirrored life. Doctors had just found a lesion on her throat. That same year, in Duet for One, she played a violinist with multiple sclerosis. The role was raw and demanding. She starred opposite Liam Neeson, whose intensity only deepened the emotion. Both films earned her Golden Globe nominations. She had clearly shed that musical label. In the 90s, Julie Andrews returned to television with the short-lived sitcom Julie, 1992, about a TV host moving to a small town. Though it lasted only 7 episodes, she found success elsewhere. Her 1987 holiday special The Sound of Christmas won 5 Emmys, and in 1989, she reunited with Carol Burnett for Julie and Carol, Together Again. In 1993, she returned to the stage in Putting It Together, a Stephen Sondheim review, which ran for just 59 performances but marked her quiet comeback. Then came Victoria on Broadway, where she played Victoria Grant. The show ran over 700 performances, and though she was nominated for a Tony, she declined the nomination, believing the entire cast deserved recognition. Julie Andrews made a grand return to Disney in The Princess Diaries, 2001, earning $165 million globally, and voiced Queen Lillian in Shrek 2, 2004. She reprised her role in the Shrek franchise and narrated Enchanted, 2007, which grossed over $340 million. In Tooth Fairy, 2010, she played Lily, showcasing her comedic flair. In 2016, Julie directed a record-breaking 60th anniversary production of My Fair Lady at the Sydney Opera House and launched Julie's Green Room on Netflix in 2017, earning 2 Emmy nominations. In 1997, a surgery to fix a lesion on her vocal cords left her unable to sing, a heartbreaking loss. Despite this, Julie fought back, supporting vocal restoration research and co-writing over 30 children's books with her daughter, Emma. Though she could no longer sing, Julie's legacy lives on in her unforgettable roles and her magical influence on film and memory.